70-year-old man being thrown to the ground during a traffic stop. Police department has since put the officer on administrative leave.
It's bully tactics because they're wearing that shield on their chest and that gun on their hip. And I don't abide by that.
All right, so you trained Salt Lake City PD?
So it was a multitude of police agencies from all around the Salt Lake City area. It was actually hosted by UVU PD. So UVU PD hosted it at their mat room.
UVU?
Yeah, University of Utah.
Oh, their
Their
resource
office.
Yeah,
exactly. They have their own university police department, basically. Yeah. And so they hosted it at their mat room, but Salt Lake City PD was there. Guys from Springville right here that it was super cool because these two guys came in. I was like, man, I know you guys. I've been arrested by you guys before? No, right? Well, I ran into a couple of guys on duty stopping at the 7-Eleven to get an energy drink. I'm like, guys, what's up? I introduced myself, gave them business cards, and two of them were there. I was like, good on you. That's rad.
Oh, that's awesome.
So Springville right here.
Any Provo guys?
I don't think any Provo guys. I don't think there was anyone
they
from
didn't
Provo.
Admit, at least they didn't admit.
I asked. I was like, hey, anyone here from Provo? I got something for you. No, everyone was super cool, but Salt Lake City guys, Linden, Orem, I mean, really the whole metropolitan area of Salt Lake City. There were probably about 25 cops there. And it was a seminar put on by a good friend of mine named Chad Lyman. Chad Lyman, he's 10 years older than me. He's 56. I think he's probably due for his 4th degree, but he's a 3rd-degree black belt. Super, super knowledgeable, savvy guy. Was a long-time pro MMA coach for UFC fighters.
No, it's recognized his name.
Yeah. And
big
just
name.
An amazing dude. And he developed this program called, the company C4C, Code 4 Concepts, PJJ, Police Jiu-Jitsu. And it's a combatives, defensive tactics, whatever you want to call it, program for law enforcement. So it's obviously very heavily grappling and jiu-jitsu based, but there's also striking. There's punch, block, clench work to get in and control and make contact with someone. We do weapon retention. We do edge weapon stuff. So this was a brief 3-hour seminar for law enforcement only. And it was rad. Yeah, we did it, Saturday. Like I said, like 25 cops were out there. Everyone, good attitudes. A lot of cops that attended already trained. So we had some blue belts and some purple belts. Obviously a bunch of white belts and stuff. There was one black belt in the crew. Which
that was an officer?
Cool. Yeah.
That's hard. That's really hard. That's a lot of commitment, man. Good
for
that guy.
Super rare.
Was he good?
Yeah. I mean, I didn't roll with him, but he moved really well. You could tell he knew what he was doing.
Had a nice can on him.
He had a great set of buns on him.
Yeah,
I mean, he got hungry right now. You
edit that.
You ever see the Theo Vaughn clip of him talking about jiu-jitsu? He goes, some guy said, I train Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and I thought that was a dog. I said, man, you have a jiu-jitsu? That's nice. How old is he? Dude, it's the best clip.
I love Theo Vaughn,
You guys might need to dub that in because
Theo
it's
Vaughn is so
dude.
funny, man.
Yeah.
Speaking of training law enforcement, I wanted to roll this because I wanted you to see this, and we had talked about it before on the mats, but let's roll the video that we have of the Oklahoma City police officer doing a move, slightly jiu-jitsu-ish.
Dude.
It looks like he's a judo takedown of this 70-plus-year-old, 5'3". I think he's like 100 pounds soaking wet.
Dude.
Oh, man.
Bad. And he injured the dude.
Yeah.
And sure, that's what happens when you hit people with the earth.
Yeah.
Like, use of force continuum. Like, look, I'm not a proponent of jiu-jitsu for law enforcement because it's safe, because it's the gentle art, right? I don't care if you're a criminal and you need to be put in custody and you're resisting that and you're resisting arrest or trying to fight a police officer, not legitimately, right? Then, yeah, I'm going to hurt you. Like, I'm going to hurt you. I'm going to do what I need to do to get you in custody. But if you're not resisting, or if you're a young 20, 30-something-year-old cop and the dude's 70-something years old and small in stature, and he's not resisting you,
fragile.
He's just literally standing there fragile, like you don't need to slam him on the ground. I watched it and I'd cringed and I immediately got so angry.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I want to cuss so bad right now because I would be like, hey, dude, hey, MFer, how'd you like if I did that to you? Because guess what? I can. And I can do it a lot worse to you. How you want that done?
Yeah.
You know, it's like it's bully tactics because they're wearing that shield on their chest and that gun on their hip. And I don't abide by that. Like the best quote ever, Roadhouse, be nice. Be nice until it's time to not be nice.
Yeah.
You know, and the video is just, I know that you can't tell everything from a video, but it's fairly clear that that didn't need to happen.
Yeah. Well, let's roll the video.
It's shocking video of a 70-year-old man being thrown to the ground during a traffic stop. The Oklahoma City Police Department has since put the officer on administrative leave while an internal investigation is underway.
I'll have to write you a ticket for improper U-turn.
The driver seems to tap the back of his hand on the officer's chest, and that's when the officer throws him down.
All right, so the things that stand out to me, there's a whole bunch of debate about this, by the way. This isn't just like this guy was slammed by the cop's a bad guy. There's a whole bunch of debate. And I actually buy into some of it because apparently the narrative from the police officer was explaining to him how everything worked. And I know we didn't play the whole clip in its entirety, but that was the gist of it, that he was explaining to him the situation. And there's another part where, and you could see it on the video, the old man kind of like smacks the front of his kit. That I imagine the officer never even physically felt because he's wearing
an outer
carrier, and he kind of taps it. And then people were like, well, he shouldn't have assaulted a police officer.
It's not assault. Folks.
And it's like, yeah, it's like, let's just stop. Okay.
If I pat you on your shoulder, is that assault?
Exactly.
Come on.
Exactly. So there's just not, it's interesting because the interesting part of this psychologically is this is very much in society a weighed debate that's not that's pretty balanced. That's not one way or the other, where guys are like, that's what he gets, and I'm like, oh, that's not really, like, he's not a bad guy who just was in a gunfight. He's not a criminal that just got caught conducting a crime.
Right.
Like, this is a 70-year-old grandfather. And this dude's a young, fit officer who's obviously capable, as he demonstrated.
Yeah,
much larger,
you know.
And you could even see, like, he gets hit, and it's almost like at one point, right before he did it, he was like, I got to do this because you hurt my ego, and here's what you get. By the way, this old man's, like, in the hospital still. Yeah. He's got a brain bleed. Like, the pictures, if we could populate some images of him, which are wild because he's bleeding in
Japanese?
his bed. He looks like he's an old Japanese man.
Yeah, he's got the old Japanese mustache.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah. Like Yoshi's dad or something. Just kidding. Is that?
I'm Yoshi's
Are
dad,
we allowed
dude.
to say that?
I'm his dad. I'm Mr. Miyagi.
Mr. Miyagi. So I see that and I'm like, dude, that could be like my granddad.
Yeah.
And he's like 120 something pounds. He's 5'3", by the way. Like, this matters because, again, it's that appropriate force.
Yeah, it's called disparity of force.
It's like, why would you do that?
Right, and we talk about it and teach it in our personal self-defense courses, right? Disparity of force. You can escalate your force based on a disparity of force. So female versus a male. Female versus a male can more logically, reasonably use weapons and deadly force against the male.
Yeah.
Right? Because we are physically bigger and stronger. Age, a 73-year-old man against a 27-year-old cop. Now, granted, if it wasn't a cop, but if it was right? But it goes the other way too. Disparity of force goes the other way. So you're a fit, strong, big 27-year-old cop, and you're about to take a 73-year-old man into custody. You don't need to throw him and judo
on his head.
Basically, it looked like, if I remember correctly, he went double wrist control and like a foot sweep, like a judo foot sweep, where he did basically what they call sasai. And dude, we were drilling that on the mats. That's this actually. What's funny is that's the takedown in our curriculum this week.
Yeah,
is judo sasai, which is a foot sweep, outside foot sweep. And when you hit it right, they go up in the air, Looney Tunes character style, and wham on the
their
ground.
Head.
You do that on the concrete. Yeah, they're hitting head, shoulder, clavicle first.
Yeah.
And it's brutal and vicious. It's a fight ender. It's a fight stopper.
Yeah.
you got to have that level of force where, hey, dude, I'm about to take you. You're under arrest. Whatever. What if the violation resulted in an arrest? Hey, you're under arrest. Turn around. If they resist a little bit, I can physically turn a 73-year-old man around without slamming his head on the concrete.
Well, that's the problem. And leave your comments below how you feel about it, because that was the biggest issue I had with it. Was there was no escalation.
Right.
He went straight from 0 to 100 miles an hour, and it looks like he didn't even give it. Maybe he said it, but he never grabbed his wrist, turned him around, and struggled with him at all.
At any point.
He immediately went to, I'm going to grab him. He might have felt a little resistance, which is why he double wrist grabbed him, and then he swept him. And immediately when he did that, it's like, dude, he could have killed him.
100%.
He could have killed him.
And I mean, who knows? Maybe the blame, I mean, the verdict's still out, because if he's in the hospital still with
And
a
he's
brain
not doing
bleed,
well.
We know how that
he's in critical condition right
yeah.
now.
You know, and you and I, of all people, we understand what violence of action, right? That's the term we were taught in CQB, violence of action. And there is a time and place for go now, 100% exigent circumstances, your emergency assault on a hostage rescue. We're not tiptoeing. We're not slowly incrementing our level of force. We're going full bore. But that's not the case. That's not the time. Right? Now you have some legitimate criminal, you made a stop, dude's got a warrant for something serious, or, you know, he matches the description of a murder suspect, bigger, jacked, yoked, prison tats. Okay.
Yeah, you're not taking the chance.
I'm not taking the chance. If you don't do what I say, I'm going to dump you on the ground. But if you're a 73-year-old, 5'3" man, come on, bro.
I know, man. We did personal defense, advanced personal defense this weekend.
I heard it was awesome.
It was super fun. And, you know, me and you made the curriculum for personal defense for the advanced version of it, which I like because it deals with the suppression of the most stressful circumstances. And it was fascinating in this class because we had one of your brown belts. This typically would have been you. And at the end of the course, after we do technical training, and I try to say this every time I get the opportunity to, because I expect that we have new listeners. Guys, the reflection of your capability of surviving a high-stress scenario, including in personal defense, a gunfight, etc., is not just reflected in your ability to technically and efficiently shoot paper and steel targets. It's not. It's the combination of cognition, thinking through critical skills, critical decision-making, at the same time you're implementing this technical proficiency. So if you could see a math problem on a target and at the same time you're processing the information, you immediately give an immediate action drill, a technical script, that would be the best translation of what I'm trying to explain.
2 + 4 is 7. Wait, no, it's not 7.
Exactly. Like thinking through problems while you're trying to implement the thing. Yeah. So a lot of people, especially in social media space, demonstrate their capability through their proficiency, but that's not what it's all about. You have to be able to think through problems. And one of the things that I was shocked by in this class was I hard pressed them. We did like the optimal Jurgis Dotson curve where I wanted to see them succeed. So we took them at about 150 beats per minute, that typical thing we do in Gunfighter. Yep. And they did really well. Like people said, like I was dialed, I was honed.
That flow state.
Flow state. Yeah. And some of them excelled. But then when we leveled up, and I did typically 30 to 50 burpees right before they did a minute of rolling with your brown belt. When they did that, they were gassed. Yeah. I mean, there were guys, like we had Irene as a safe call. Yeah. And there were dudes like saying Irene as soon as they got grabbed. Irene, it's like, okay, we continued to press them, but we wouldn't put their hands over their mouth and suppress their oxygen.
I heard Parker's like smother choking them and stuff.
Which is good.
Yeah, for sure.
But when we physically picked them up off the ground, because some of them had to be physically picked up, it's like, come on, let's go. After you get off the mat, you're at like 180, 190 beats per minute. And we put on the safety protection glasses. Why did I say it like that? Safety protection glasses?
Safety. I mean, it is. That's the correct probably.
Yeah, but I've never said it
protection
like that.
And their glasses.
iPro. When you put on your iPro, we hand you your simulations pistol, and you go into this scenario, which I won't spoil for you guys. But it's more technical as a scenario. which your son participated in.
Yeah, he was all stoked.
He does really well in that.
Jackson was like, man, I was a role player. He's the hostage.
Best, man. He's the best. Likely can beat up all the students. When we implemented that, what I was in shock by was the fact that there were many of those students who reflected on things like, when I shot the gun, I saw it in slow motion.
Tachypsychia, man.
Yeah, and they were in these elevated DMT states.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, that's what you're in. And if you could fight through it, good for you. But a lot of them experienced that, and I was impressed by that.
Yeah. No, and I mean, it's a hard thing to explain to people. Like, I've told people about certain, and by all means, like, folks, internet, chill out. I'm not like God's gift to gunfighting. I have not been in that many gunfights or shootings, and there's differences. Gunfights are a two-way range. Shootings are a one-way range, right? See bad guy with gun, shoot bad guy with gun, bad guys down. This man here has been in way more gunfights than I have, but I try to explain to people, like, I remember specifically one shooting I was in where the dude shot through his window at me first from inside his vehicle. And I, clear as day, remember seeing the projectile go through the rear window spider web, seeing the glint, and it was nighttime. It was late at night, street lights, seeing the glint of the round go snap, hearing it snap by my head as I'm like, whack, 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 like it's smoking this dude down because he bailed out of his car then. And people are like, BS, you didn't see it. I'm like, bro, I'm telling you, it's a real thing. It's a real phenomenon.
Thing. Yeah, I think the DMT that lies dormant in us, there's something to that. And it's described by many people as being like the Matrix, where things are in slow motion. Yeah. You see lands and grooves. You see the bullet as it leaves the cylinder.
Yep.
I think about those stories I grew up hearing. It's in On Combat, On Killing, from Grossman. And those things happen legitimately in training.
Yes.
And that's what we want. Like, in personal defense, I want the students to experience this weird sensation of, like, seeing the bad guy move and everything in slow motion. They could see the cycling of the gun.
That's right.
And then they readjusted rounds. One guy, which, simunitions obviously is moving few hundred feet per second.
I think about 350 feet per second.
That's
roughly.
right. And it's a plastic projectile, and it's moving out of this Glock 17 frame pistol. But even at that speed, which you would normally not be able to register, he was able to see the two rounds come out back to back and adjust for that.
Yeah.
And I think it's important that people understand, unless you train technical expertise under different variations and levels of stress, you are not validating your technical expertise.
100%.
Yeah.
And like, I tell people in the courses we teach all the time, there's marksmanship and there's gunfighting. Now, you have to have the marksmanship before you can get into the gunfighting, and then the gunfighting is adding TTPs, tactics, techniques, and procedures to the marksmanship piece and the stress, right? But if all you ever do is go to the range and you're thinking, all right, draw pistol, set grip, front sight focus, or target focus through my red dot, my pistol red dot, well, if you have to consciously think about that, then you can't consciously think about all the other stuff that's going on under stress. All that stuff, you've got to be subconscious or unconscious competent. You have to be unconscious competent at all your marksmanship, all your manipulation before we can get into the gunfighting, because then you're going to be completely pinging and stressed out.
December 14th, me and Greg will be teaching gunfighter carbine. I'm excited about that because we're bringing trucks and bikes.
Yeah, it's going to be a little... We're excited about all the other stuff. We're excited about the course, too.
The course.
We'll have our new BCM rifles down there, which I'm super stoked to run.
Yeah, we'll be running the Elite, which is our bronze setups, and we will have the FDEs on display running the Flat Dark Earth gunfighter carbine and DMR program guns, which we talk about in the underground on Patreon. We actually just released, or we have a YouTube video that's going to be released on the program as well. We just can't talk about a lot of it because it constantly gets suppressed on this channel because of the talk. Even this, like, I can't even pick this up because they'll identify...
It's actually just a paperweight. That's all it is.
Yeah, this is a paperweight.
Fancy looking paperweight.
Yeah,
real expensive paperweight.
We're going to be off to the underground to talk about that because if we don't do that, then we can't even communicate about stuff like this. So if you want to, it's patreon.com/Mike Glover. You guys can click the link down below, and it's the extended version to Team Room. So you ready to migrate?
Let's go.
All right, we'll see you guys.